volunteer with Postpartum Support International. Postpartum psychosis is a temporary break with reality. It often occurs within a few weeks after childbirth. It might be the first manifestation of bipolar disorder, or perhaps, as in my case, it was a combination of stress, a stressful childbirth, change in hormones, and prolonged lack of sleep. 40 years ago, I gave birth to a 3.5-pound baby while my husband was overseas serving in the Air Force. For 11 days, I pumped my breast, but never slept. I'm not an aggressive person, but after that, I slapped a nurse and was taken away in a straitjacket. I spent 2 weeks on a mental health ward in California. I'd like to echo the comments I heard earlier about being severely over-medicated during that time. I was fortunate to make a complete recovery. I raised 2 wonderful sons. I've had a successful career and a marriage. I've climbed 10 of Colorado's 14ers. For 30 years, I hid my shame, and I finally decided it was time for me to speak out. I wrote a book. I went on to serve on the board of Postpartum Support International, PSI. PSI helps women in 50 states and over 50 countries with all aspects of perinatal mental health. This includes postpartum depression. 1 in 7 young mothers experiences this after childbirth. And postpartum psychosis, which happens in about 1 to 2 per 1,000 births. Looking at the statistics in Colorado, that's 60 to 120 mothers every year who have a break with reality. PSI provides peer support to families, trains professionals, and is a bridge between the two. I'd like to address 3 ways to improve outcomes for women with postpartum psychosis. First, increase awareness of existing resources and expand treatment options. The website of PSI, www.postpartum.net, lists 16 volunteers in the state of Colorado, as well as numerous support groups and other resources. Postpartum psychosis is a medical emergency. Most women are hospitalized and separated from their babies. Joaquin Phoenix, in his Oscar nomination acceptance speech, complained that mother cows will bawl for days when they're separated from their babies. I cried for months because I was separated forcibly from my baby and I was not able to breastfeed. There's a new mental health clinic in Colorado at Health One Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. It's in Aurora. It just opened last week. I'm so proud to announce this. This new all-women's unit will have a strong perinatal focus. It will allow for flexible visiting of the new baby with the mother and other special accommodations for new moms. It's considered a model for the United States. I am asking the state of Colorado to promote and support these and similar resources. Second, know what to do immediately after a postpartum tragedy. I'd like to tell you about 2 women that I met through a PSI. At the national conference, I finally got to meet other women who had experienced postpartum psychosis. Angela, during her second child's experience, stopped breastfeeding abruptly at 9 months. 2 days later, she felt that God was telling her to drown her son Michael, and she did. Her husband, because she had experienced postpartum psychosis after her first birth, told the police, please, do not take her to jail, take her to the hospital, and she did. She was very fortunate. The state recognized that she was not guilty by reason of insanity. She was treated in a California outpatient conditional release program for 17 years. She completed her master's in nursing, was a loving mother to 2 children, a volunteer health educator, and a mental health advocate. Like myself, she had no mental health problems in a subsequent childbirth. I also met Naomi Knowles Gerdes, same last name. During a postpartum psychosis, she took the life of her daughter Anna. Naomi served 10 years in prison. She was so excited and optimistic when she was released. but she had many issues adjusting to life outside of prison, and within a year she took her life. PSI's Postpartum Psychosis Task Force has created a list of 4 things to do immediately after a postpartum psychosis tragedy. First, ask that the mother be taken to a hospital rather than to jail. 2, secure legal defense for the mother. 3, videotape the mother as soon as possible if she is exhibiting signs of psychosis so that this can be used as evidence in a subsequent trial. And 4, secure a mental health professional with specialized training in maternal mental health to be part of the defense and treatment team. I have a one-pager that outlines these guidelines. I am asking the state of Colorado to make these available to every policeman and every emergency medical staff across the state. And last, when a woman with postpartum mental illness acts tragically, provide treatment rather than prison. This would require a new mother and infant safety law. 4 to 5% of women with postpartum psychosis commit suicide, 1 to 4% commit infanticide. There are laws in many countries. The first law in the nation was just enacted in Colorado with lenient sentencing and guidelines for women who commit infanticide. Dr. Susan Feingold and attorney Barry Lewis helped enact this groundbreaking new law. They wrote a book advocating for women with postpartum mental illness, A Guide to Changing the Law in the National Climate. It comes out in 2 weeks. They have volunteered to work with people in Colorado to craft a similar law. If anyone would like to join me in an experimental task force, contact me at Sharon at SharonGerdes.com. That's SharonGerdes. Thank you for your time, and thank you for holding this.